So yesterday we learned how to convert equations from vertex form to standard form. So today we're going to be doing the opposite. We're going to convert from standard form to vertex form. But before we get into that, I want you to pause this video and take a minute or two to complete this do now. Okay, so if you take a look, question 1, the vertex, remember, is 7, 2. Remember, you negate whatever the h value is, so instead of a -7, it becomes a +7, and then the 2 stays the same. So then when we're writing the equation in vertex form, remember our vertex form is y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. So remember, we are told that the a value is 1, so we just put in 1. Then remember the h value is negated, so instead of a +4, it's a -4 in my equation. And then the k value stays the same, so it stays as a -9. Then to convert to standard form, we need to take that x plus 1 squared and simplify it and rewrite it as x plus 1 times x plus 1. We double distribute, combine our like terms, then distribute that 2, and we combine our like terms lastly to end up with y equals 2x squared plus 4x plus 3. So that was a quick review of yesterday. So today we're going to learn how to go the other way from standard form to vertex form. Now remember, standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And we want to go to vertex form, which is y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. So in order to convert a quadratic equation from standard form to vertex form, you must begin the process of, if you look here at vertex form, it should look similar to something that we did when we were the week before we were on this break. So what it looks like, and it should ring a bell with the squared and the constant there, is completing the square. So that's what we're going to do in order to convert from standard to vertex form. So completing the square. So if we look here, we have y equals x squared minus 8x plus 15. So if you remember, completing the square, we're going to change the y to a 0 equals x squared minus 8x plus 15. Then when we complete the square, what we need to do is we need to get the constant to the opposite side. So instead of having the plus 15 here, I need to move it over to the other side. So then on this side, the positive 15 and the negative 15 leave me with x squared minus 8x. Now remember, we have plus the box. Then on this side, we're left with negative 15 plus our box. So there's our square. So then we need to fill in a value for that square. So in order to fill in that value, we need to take the b value and divide it by 2 and square it. So our b value here is the -8. I'm going to take -8 divided by 2 and square it. And if you're putting this in the calculator, make sure you have those parentheses. So -8 divided by 2 is -4 squared, which gives me 16. So I have my 16 there. So then we need to simplify. So -15 plus 16 gives me 1 equals. Then we need to factor this using our trinomial method. So we need to figure out what multiplies to give us 16 and what adds to give us -8. And remember, these should be the same exact values. So -4 times -4 multiplies to give me 16 and adds to give me 8, -8. So I have x minus 4 and x minus 4. Now, what's a way that we could rewrite x minus 4 times x minus 4? We're multiplying it by itself, so we could rewrite it as x minus 4 squared. So now when we were completing the square, what we did was we made this, we solved to get this equal to x. But now instead of solving for x here, we need to get the equation equal to 0. So we're going to work here to get the equation equal to 0. So if I look here, I have 1 equals x minus 4 squared. So I need to solve to get this equal to 0. So I now need that 1 to come over back to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So then I have 0 equals x minus 4 squared minus 1. And then the final step is that the 0 is going to become a y. Or in this case, it could have been an f of x, depending on what they were asking for. So then the final step is instead of 0, it's going to be y equals x minus 4 squared minus 1. And there we have our answer in vertex form. So let's try example 1 together. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to convert it from standard form to vertex form. So we're going to replace that y with a 0. So 0 equals x squared minus 4x. So here it's a little tricky. There isn't a constant there, so I don't need to move anything over. So all I need to do here is add my box on both sides. And then we need to fill in what goes into that box. So here, in order to fill that in, we need to do b over 2 and square it. So here I have -4 over 2 squared, which gives me 4. So I'm going to fill in my box with that 4. So then 0 plus 4 gives me 4 equals. Now we need to factor. So we need to figure out what multiplies to give me 4 and what adds to give me -4. So that would be x minus 2 and x minus 2. And they're the same, which is exactly what we want. Since they're the same, we could rewrite that. So this would be 4 equals x minus 2 times x minus 2 could be written as x minus 2 squared. Now remember, instead of solving for x here, we want to set it equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 4 on both sides. So then I end up with 0 equals x minus 2 squared minus 4. And then finally, I have my y, which is what we started with. So instead of 0, I'm going to replace that with y equals x minus 2 squared minus 4. And there's my equation in vertex form. Okay, so then we were asked to graph it. So we're going to take out our graphing calculator. And we're going to turn it on, go to y equals, and type in our equation. So we have parenthesis, x minus 2 squared minus 4. And we're going to go to the table. And then we always, every single time we're graphing, we want to draw the table. So we're going to write out our table here. And remember, the center of our table is going to be our vertex, which our vertex, we could tell from the vertex form of the equation, would be 2, 4. 2, -4. I'm sorry, that's a negative. Or we could look at the table, 2, -4.
And then we want to graph our graph. And make sure when we graph this equation, we are going to plot all the points with our arrows on the end and write the equation of the line. So now I want you to take the next couple minutes, pause this video, and try 2 and 3 on your own. All right, so here are your answers to 2 and 3. Number 2, standard form was converted to vertex form. You got y equals x plus 4 squared plus 2. Put in your calculator, write down the table, and graph it. Now, a great way to check it is if you type in both of the equations into your calculator, the standard form and the vertex form, you should end up with the same graph. It's the same exact graph, just written in a different format. So really, they're the same equation. Number 3, you converted to vertex form, and you got y equals x plus 2 squared minus 1. You write the table, and you graph it. And once again, if you type this into the calculator and the vertex form into the calculator, you'll end up with the same exact graph. So now I want you to pause this video, take some time to complete 4, 5, and 6. And then also I'd like you to complete 7, 8, and 9. And then I will put those answers up for you to check your work.
Here are the answers to 4, 5, and 6. If you have any questions, please comment on the video and I'm happy to answer them. Next, please pause and take some time to do 7, 8, and 9, and I will put up the answers to those. All right, and here are the answers for 7, 8, and 9. And I apologize that graph number 9 kind of really doesn't fit on the page. But if you have any other questions, please comment below. I hope that this was helpful for you and you're staying healthy and safe.